Hey guys, sorry to be kind of bombarding you with Skinwalker Ranch information, but this has a little different twist to it. So, back in June of this year, June 12th, Dr. Stephen Greer, who I've talked about before, he's a UFO disclosure specialist and kind of leads the way on all that. He held a press conference, okay? That introduced a lot of his own witnesses that have come to him over the course of years, really. There's a lot of retired military and a lot of people with reputations that are above reproach in a lot of circles. So, anyway, among this press conference and among these witnesses came out a story that is actually more of a resurface because I have heard this before. But it's a story that's about a rumored underground military base at Utah's Dugway Proving Ground, and it allegedly is hiding an extraterrestrial craft. Okay, now the story it directly connects and correlates into what's been happening on the latest season of Skinwalker Ranch, or The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch, rather. The docuseries has been digging into this mesa that's located in a very renowned spot on the ranch called the Triangle, where they, have found endless amounts of data that support something anomalous happening in that area. Um, and honestly, they've encountered also a multitude of other strange activity, including, catching UAPs in the sky above the mesa, going into the mesa, coming out of the bottom of the mesa. They've tried digging into it. They can't get past a certain point. I've mentioned this in my last videos, due to something stopping the drill bits, not ruining the drill bits, but something stopping it. Huh. Now, they have done a huge variety at Skinwalker Ranch of aerial experiments using Brandon Fugel, the owner's private helicopter that his brother flies for him. And actually, might be his brother's helicopter. I don't know. It's a very successful family. But anyway, when they're up in that helicopter, they have caught data and recorded it. And they have found, like, for instance, in one experiment, they were, reading to see what was happening in the triangle when they were dropping certain devices that could read data points. Okay, as that was happening, the instruments in front of the pilot was they were going all wacky, saying that there was something underneath 40 feet, just 40 feet underneath the helicopter, which would, if he was reading the instruments correctly, would say he was only 40 feet above the ground. They were a couple thousand feet in the air. I mean, it's all on video. It's all on the docu-series. So things like that. So there's something anomalous happening around this area on the ranch. And so it's interesting to note that this Dugway Proving Ground, first of all, it's 800,000 acres, and that's going to start to generate some attention in the local residents and stuff. And it's going to have them watching very carefully what's going on. It's an Army and Air Force in tandem base. So they both use it. A lot of residents have said they've seen some very unusual crafts come in and out of it. They don't know if it's experimental craft, if it's UAP, UFO, but just a lot of correlation between Skinwalker Ranch and Dugway. Okay. Now they, back at the ranch, they've done all sorts of experiments using like over 200 drones, and these private companies that run these experiments have, according to them, never experienced any of the issues that they encounter at the ranch when they're conducting their experiments. They've used rockets of varying size and power, and also versions of like little balloons that can take, go into the air. And there's always this, like, it's like 31 feet. They have video of like a cloud of something that looks almost like a shape, but you can't really tell exactly what it is. Obviously, for obvious reasons, I really feel like something's keeping it from being too clear. But also, there's always a common denominator among all the experiments, no matter what they are. They all experience either electrical failure completely, batteries drained, but every single experiment has encountered these issues with their equipment. And it's, in somehow, in some way, at the end of the experiments, they're always able to catch just enough. I swear to God, just enough to keep us like going, what the hell is that? Because usually there's something that comes back within the realm of a radio frequency as 1.6 gigahertz. And Eric Bard, who is the chief scientist and lead investigator, he has a couple of theories about what it could be. Obviously, I mean, being a scientist and being very, very based in, his feet are firmly on the ground when it comes to evidence. So he's talked in part about, ultra terrestrials being possibly part of it, or extra dimensional or interdimensional things like a portal of some kind. They have at this triangle found, an anomaly or whatever, showing what looks like it could be a portal or a wormhole of some kind, which have been proven to exist. And, the relationship again that I'm bringing back around to the Dugway Proving Ground is that at this back at the UFO conference disclosure press conference with Stephen Greer, they spoke to a anonymous witness, who claims to be a contractor, who spoke to Greer about what he saw at Dugway. And according to his account of what he saw, which has not been confirmed, but he said he laid eyes on an extraterrestrial craft. So, I mean, what's in the Mesa, what's at Dugway, I have no idea, but it's something too close between those two places that you just can't ignore the similarities. Um, he goes on to say, Greer goes on to say that, about his source, that he was a worker for C-Mart Incorporated, and that's where contractors come from. And he was in the facility, saw the craft, and he was read in or kind of told by the lead scientist that, the object had been there since 2009. Okay. And he also, he found out that there's a whole section of this Dugway Proving Ground underground. They call it DUM, Deep Underground Military Base. I'm sure you've heard that before. But anyway, like I said before, 800,000 acres and owned by the, Air Force and the Army. So they have, it's actually been said to be, it could possibly be the new Area 51, even though Area 51 is somewhat, the illusion of that has been, the veil's been ripped down for that. But work still goes on there. It's not closed down or anything. And there's other sections that people don't even know about. The section that this contractor, this anonymous guy, was telling Dr. Gray about, something called the Avery sector. So I don't know. That's at Dugway. I don't know if that's, directly related to Area 51. Now, I'm not saying that there's like tunnels that go between the bases, because they're 200 miles apart. So they're not like next door neighbors or anything. But it is just worthwhile that to talk about the patterns that have gone on, what each people outside of Dugway, local residents, have reported versus what the team at Skinwalker Ranch, as they conduct their experiments, have seen. The patterns of reports are very similar. I mean, there's been, in Utah alone in 2022, there was over 1,000 sightings, confirmed sightings. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. Now, granted, some of that's probably going to be, experimental aircraft from the government, but maybe it's experimental aircraft from the government because they're re-engineering something. Just saying, it's a possibility. Now, there's another property that I mentioned in the title of this, and it was previously a property owned by Bob Bigelow. As we all know, Bigelow used to own Skinwalker Ranch, hence the connection to this. Also, it is of note, and this is a place in Nevada. This location's in Nevada. And but they have found, when they've done experiments, other teams have found electronic signatures similar to, if not exactly like, what they find at Skinwalker Ranch within the Mesa and around that triangle area. So there is something going on, guys, and it's all connected. It's all connected. So I think, the most significant correlation between the three properties would possibly be the link to the extraterrestrial research. And it's got to include, NHIs, non human intelligences, and crafts and reverse engineering and all of it. So I'm going to keep digging. Pardon the pun. I'm going to keep digging into this. And when I come up with more stuff, I will bring it to you. And until then, I hope you're staying happy and healthy and stay weird. It helps. I promise. And take care. Bye.